deep in the Soviet Union, on a mountain the indigenous people called the Pass of the Dead. Something happened. Something no one has been able to explain for over 60 years. In February 1959, 9 experienced hikers entered the mountain. None of them came back. When rescuers finally found the camp, the tent had been cut open from the inside. Their tracks led into the dark. They were barefoot. It was 30 below zero, somewhere in the frozen wilderness of Russia. 9 experienced hikers vanished without a trace. When their bodies were finally found weeks later, rescuers couldn't explain what they saw. Tents ripped open from the inside, footprints leading nowhere, and expressions on the dead, frozen in absolute terror. It was February 1959. Igor Dyatlov, a 23-year-old engineering student, led a group of 10 through the Ural Mountains of the Soviet Union. 9 of them were experienced. All of them were prepared. The route was graded Category 3, the most difficult, but they had done it before. They had no reason to be afraid. On the night of February 1st, something made them leave their tent. Not calmly, not with shoes. The tent was cut open from the inside with a knife, a frantic, desperate slash. All 9 ran barefoot into minus 30-degree temperatures, into the dark, into the trees, away from whatever was inside that mountain. Search parties arrived weeks later. Some of the hikers had died of hypothermia, but others were different. One woman's tongue was missing. Several had broken ribs and fractured skulls, injuries so severe they were compared to a car crash. Yet there was no external damage to their skin, and the clothes of some of the bodies were radioactive. Avalanche, military testing, infrasound from the wind, creating mass panic. A Yeti, a secret Soviet weapons experiment. Indigenous Mansi hunters protecting sacred land. Or something stranger. Something the Soviet government buried so deep in classified files that the case wasn't fully opened to the public until 2019. 60 years. They kept it secret for 60 years. Here is the detail that keeps investigators awake at night. When the bodies were found, some of them had walked, calmly, deliberately, back toward the tent. They had survived the initial panic. They knew where safety was, and they stopped. They turned around and walked back into the forest, as if something out there was preferable to whatever was waiting at that tent. The Russian government officially closed the case in 2019, citing a small avalanche as the cause. But investigators who worked the case for decades disagree. The tent was pitched on a slope too gentle for an avalanche. The injuries don't match. The radiation doesn't match. And no avalanche in history has ever stolen a woman's tongue. Whatever happened on Dyatlov Pass in February 1959, it remains officially unexplained. And perhaps that is exactly how someone wants it.